Hello and welcome back to Vintage Gaming Memories. Thank you all for your interest in checking out this video. If this is your first time to the channel, please remember to subscribe as we continue to grow this channel day by day, and I really do appreciate your help in doing that. And for those of you who have already subscribed and having a return visit, thank you once again for your continued support. Now let's get right to it. In this video here, what I have is the very first free-floating motion-sensitive joystick that came to the consumer market, which was produced by Datasoft, and it's called Le Stick. Now you might recall Datasoft was one of those big developers and publishers of games back in the 80s. Games that I remember from them are like Bruce Lee, Clowns and Balloons, which is kind of like the Atari Circus clone. And then one of my favorites actually is the Alternate Reality. This particular stick came out in 1981 for both the Atari and Commodore market, and the one here is obviously for the Atari. It's a single-handed controller without a base, which is why it looks kind of odd. It has one fire button on top. When you kind of first look at it, I'm sure people probably think, what happened? Did someone get mad and broke off the base on this joystick? But then you kind of realize that this is a working joystick, and you wonder how unconventional is this, or maybe it's perhaps futuristic back then. It was priced at around $40 in 1981, which would be around $138 today when you adjust for inflation. That's quite a bit of change for a joystick. I don't think I would be convincing my parents to splurge for this. Well, let's first take a look at this controller from the outside. The cord on this is 51 inches from the base to the plug. It's not really long. The stick itself measures 5 inches. And the grip that you would get on this is pretty basic, typical. I mean, it should work with many people's grips, so that wouldn't be a problem. But what's really key about this, it is ambidextrous. So basically, you can go left-handed or right-handed without making any adjustments, which is pretty cool. It has that fire button on top. Yeah, it's a very soft, no click to it when pressed. And the grip, as I mentioned, it's kind of soft. You know, it's the texture to it you could see. Really nothing crazy. It's very simple. But if you do look at it closely, one thing about this controller that kind of comes to mind for people is probably where is the screws. How do you open this? And on that note, I probably wouldn't want to open it so much. Let me first state that this joystick has mercury switches inside. Yes, mercury. That actually signals which direction you're tilting the stick. You know, allows the movement on the screen to react to that tilting. And I know some of you would ask, is the mercury poisonous? Well, yeah, it is, but only if the seal containment of it is broken. And then you have to inhale it, which would then have to get in your system to create all sorts of issues. And from what I've understood, it can create paralysis, which I don't want to test out. But let's just hope and assume that this joystick is not leaking, and I did check it when I first got it. I had this for about maybe 10 months, and I have played with it just for a few games. Now, the mercury switch works with gravity, of course, which is how it's the main key of how all this really works in concept. But because it has to use gravity and the mercury inside for the movement, when you are doing the movement, the tilts, and you're hoping that mercury moves, it's really not going to be precision. So you can probably expect not to use this type of stick with games where you really need to be precise on your movement. It's not really a selling point for it. There are some games that are selected for this. And then, though, if you really think about it, having one hand to hold the stick and not needing the other hand for the base frees it up. So what could you do with that hand? Obviously, get some food, eat, but more importantly, there are games that you would use your other hand to control the keyboard on the 800, for example. Like, I believe the one game that comes to mind is Star Raiders. There's some keyboard commands you could use while you're playing and you don't want to keep moving your hands around. You can just put one hand on the keyboard and have this one floating in air. So this came out in 1981, as I mentioned. and it ended around 1983 as far as the sales of this because of a significant time in gaming history. Now, I've mentioned it in a couple of my videos so far, and that is the gaming crash of 1983. Please check out my StarPath Supercharger video, which adds more details about the crash. I'll put a link in the description to get you right to it. We should probably take a look and see how this thing reacts to a real gameplay. Okay, we have the Le Stick connected to my Atari 800, and we're going to try it with Pac-Man. Don't hate me for that, but I figured let's do something very basic that we all know. Let's just see how this reacts. Pac-Man, a 4-directional game, should be easy to maneuver with this, but we'll see. I mean, this is using gravity and mercury. I will hold the stick like right about here when I play, and I'll push the button to start, and we'll see. Okay, so far so good. I mean, you have to go a little bit jittery. I'm gonna wait there, go up, and it works great. I mean, you just have to know precision as far as how much of a tilt you do. You don't want to over tilt it or else you get stuck. And I'm going to try to get that. Well, see, yeah, I held it at too much of an angle going up, and it just kind of stalled there. But it works good. I mean, you can definitely play Pac-Man without a base. So that's enough of Pac-Man. Let's play another game that's more of a space game. Yep, you got it. We're going to do Star Raiders and see how this works. All right. Well, I'm holding the stick in my right hand. You can see me moving. Fire button. Pretty cool. Nailed it. I'm trying to make sure I don't get in the camera view for you. Oh, can't get it. I mean, this is pretty cool. I gotta say, you know, the precision part, as they keep mentioning on some of the reviews, and just from experience of playing it for a little bit here, yeah, I get it. You don't really want to play it in certain games that you really have to be accurate on your movement and very precise to getting out of a situation. But for a space game like this, where you're flying around and just kind of coasting, moving a slight movement left to right, up and down, this works great. Let's try another space type game. So let's try Missile Command here. I know you have to be more accurate, precise to making sure you hit those missiles that are being launched at you so you don't waste all of your shots towards them. But let's just see how this works. Let's see here. You can see my hand. All right. Here's my... You can see it's a little bit choppy, right? I mean, it doesn't smoothly move around, but it worked. There's up, down, left, angles are... So I'm just slightly moving it. I'm learning how much of an adjustment I need to make for my movement to work without it to be too choppy. So I think we're going to end it on this level here. But you get the idea, you know, watch the screen as I move. Angles, diagonal, it's pretty good. 8-directional, nice. So it's safe to say that the mercury in here has not leaked after 42 years. Pretty crazy, huh? Fire button works just like it should. It's great condition. So I'm happy I have this in my collection. Will I use it every day? Definitely not. Well, like I said, I mean, this is a novelty. Who knows where this might have gone if the crash didn't occur in '83? That price point, it might have been a little bit too much to get it out to the market more. Even today, I believe I paid about 35 or $6 for this, and it was, in my opinion, a really good condition unit. I knew that if there was a problem or it says it's not working, I'm not buying it because you can't open it. But it does show the progression of controllers from 40 plus years ago to where we are today. That's about it. Thank you all for watching. And again, remember, until next time, keep your gaming passion from the past alive by living it today. Take care, everyone.